Times are rough, so how can small businesses save money? Coming up now. Hi, I'm Oliver, CIBS Executive MBA and Startup Coach at AskMeStartUp.com. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and pushing that notification bell. This way the YouTube algorithm knows that this is an important video and it should serve you more of my content in the future. If you're already a subscriber, welcome back and let's deep dive into today's video. And please smash that thumbs up button so that YouTube really distributes it to a lot of people who are in need of this content. This time is not the time to debate or negotiate inside the company, but it's a time of rigid and thorough actions. And that's why you should deal with your finances as quickly and swift as possible and rather have a look at the impact later on than not having enough liquidity. I will also link a very interesting article from Harvard Business Review down in the description below for you to read through, which should help you also guide through this current crisis situation. Now, the very first thing for any cost cutting and savings whatsoever is get your numbers right. So you want to go to your bookkeeper, you want to get the latest numbers on your account, and you want him or her to lay them out in a way that you're able to do proper decisions on. If you've done that, most likely you will recognize that there are three major blocks on your account, which is A, the inventory, B, the rent, and C, the wages. Now, I would not recommend you fiddle around with the wages because you will need good people to work for you and to re-ramp up your business once the crisis situation is over. However, you can do something on the inventory and on the rent. On the inventory, of course, that depends on your own business. So I cannot give you much of a recommendation other than check which parts of the inventory is getting sold and stop all incoming supply for those materials that are not in there. And that's why it should save you cash in the first place. On the rent side, I can tell you that our landlord has given us a 50% deduction on the monthly rate for the months of March, April, May, and June, because they also are very much aware that they are not able to rent out the floor that we are in our labs to a new company very soon, because there are not that many companies that are able to rent out such a space. Secondly, if you're like, for instance, in restaurant business, you also should have a very good bargaining power for your landlord, because they should be very much aware that restaurants are going to die big time and they want to keep you as much as possible. Now, it will be very hard for a landlord to get a new restaurant inside, especially if it's not like in the center of a city or a very crowded space where people are coming anyway all the time. Another big expenditure block, of course, are taxes, and taxes are inevitable. However, governments currently have come up with solutions to help save liquidity in the companies. For instance, we are able to pay our taxes 3 to 6 months later than usual this year. And our government pays their own bills to us immediately after issuing it to them. Now, this helps our liquidity and cash on the bank significantly. And maybe you ask your local government and your local tax authorities what type of plans and support they have for you as well. So the next thing that we have done is we go heavy on IT. I mean, we are not a digital company because we're doing a lot of research. However, a lot of the processes that are associated with the research can be done automated. And that is the crucial part. Figure out which parts of your workflow actually can be automated and go for it. Even though you might spend a little more currently, this will save you a lot of money down the road because you don't need those people to work for you anymore in the future. Secondly, what we've done is we have gotten rid of paid subscriptions for things like Zoom or Microsoft Word. I mean, we use Google Docs now instead because it's for free. Why should we pay for something you can get for free? Zoom is the same thing. There are alternatives like Whereby or Talkie.io that do this job as good as Zoom does it. Then we have switched our email accounts to Google Mail because Google Mail actually allows you to write your emails from your own URL. So it doesn't change there and it's actually for free. This is everything you should do as a small business owner to save money, and this will save you also money on the long run. The next thing that we have done now is we reduce the everyday expenses to the maximum. What this means actually is, for instance, we have skipped free lunch for every employee and merged it into a bagel on the Friday morning. Now, of course, these perks are very much in favor by the employees. However, they rather keep their job than, and not have a free lunch than the other way around. The second thing that we have done is we cut the telephone costs. Now, we called up our service provider here and negotiated a 50% deduction on the rates for March, April, May, and June. And they're more than happy to provide it for us, because they know that if we're out of business, they lose the contracts completely. So I don't know about the situation in any countries around the world, but you should definitely ask your provider how they can come up with a proposal to help you. Long as you have regularly been paying them in the past, they're more than happy to help you out. Additionally, we're also trying to use internet-based telephone communication, so FaceTime or WhatsApp, Skype, whatsoever, for as many calls as possible. So that way we're also saving money on the telecommunication side as well. Now, the next thing that is like a double-edged sword, but we have also restructured our cleaning services. Now, in our labs, for instance, we just have them now once a month instead every week, but we still have them disinfecting all the hinges and all the keyboards and desks every second day. So that way we still are able to save a lot of money, but still have enough sanitation that we're not spreading the virus in our company. And that is something we can do in general. I mean, it's independent of Corona situation or not. You can think of, are the things that the way they are set up currently efficient enough, or can they be optimized? The next thing we've done is we renegotiated the payment terms with our suppliers. Now, we were asking them to have, instead of a 30-day, 60 to 90-day payment terms, which of course also helps our liquidity. It's bad for the suppliers, I know, but they also do the same thing on their side, so everybody should be up with their liquidity significantly. This will help very much down the road, especially since we don't know how consumer behavior is going to change and what impact it actually has on our business. The next thing, and that is more like an ongoing process now, is we have been considering, do we really need all the working space that we have in our company? Or can we reduce the number of offices? I mean, we're working from home right now and it works pretty well. So why would we need that much office space? If we can reduce that, it actually would save us a lot of rent, or we can rent it out to another company, a small company, to come in and use some of our office space. This is something that I would recommend any company should do, because remote working actually is very efficient. It is sustainable, and it for the environment, and it will help you to speed up a lot of things and save you costs on the other side. So it might be a win-win situation. Of course, you cannot do this for everything all the time, but figure out how much you can do it and how much you can save with it. The next thing that I can recommend is clean up your mailing list. I know that the US Postal Service will do that for free for you if you hand them over, and they will also update the zip code so you're eligible for barcodes. That will also save you costs on your mailing in the future. The last thing, and that is more general thing, is be sustainable. What I mean by this is, don't waste money on cheap stuff to buy, but keep things for a longer time. As an example, I have been using my iPhone 5S for 5 years before I bought a new one. Now, these 5 years actually accounted to the iPhone costing me roughly $150 a year. The same is true for the computer that I do the video editing on. Now, this is an iMac late 2012. This implies that roughly the iMac has cost me between $200 and $250 a year, which is important to know because you're saving on the long run. Because the guys that use Windows computers in our facility, they have to get a new computer every 3 years, and then their software servicing costs go up as well. On the other hand, have a 50% lower IT service cost than all the Windows users. So consider all of these things together, because sometimes if you pay something with a more updated price, it might still last you longer. I mean, at the end, the lifespan costs are more important than a short-term bargain. This has been the list that we have been working on. What is something that you have been working on to save money as well in your company? Just please leave a comment down below. Thank you for watching.